All right, you're there, the conversation is flowing, and then, bam, a question hits you like a pop quiz. If you had to rebuild society from scratch, what's the very first law you'd write? You might chuckle, thinking it's a quirky icebreaker, but they don't even crack a smile. Guess what? You just walked into test number 3. Stick around, because by the end of this, you're not just going to know the 7 super covert exams every INTJ runs on a date. You're going to know exactly how to ace them. This isn't about tricking anyone. It's about understanding the unique lens through which an INTJ views potential partners. Picture this. The candlelight is glowing, the conversation is sparkling, and you're thinking, wow, this is some serious chemistry. Meanwhile, across the table, their brain isn't just listening. It's running a sophisticated spreadsheet titled Long-Term Viability, a Comprehensive Analysis. See, INTJ don't date for sport or to pass the time. They're on a mission, gathering data. Every anecdote you share, every opinion you defend, every tiny choice you make, it's all being quietly, meticulously scored. If you don't understand the underlying criteria, you'll wonder why that promising second date never materialized. It's not personal. It's purely data-driven. They're trying to figure out if you're a compatible co-strategist for their life's grand design. Test number 1. The authenticity audit. This one's sneaky. They might casually steer the conversation back to a minor white lie or a slight exaggeration you made earlier. It could be about anything. How busy your week was, or a detail about your job. If you double down, get defensive, or try to spin it further, consider it game over. INTJ have an almost supernatural ability to sniff out incongruence. They value truth, not because they're moral crusaders, but because inauthenticity is inefficient. It creates unnecessary guesswork and wastes precious cognitive resources. The fix here is surprisingly simple. Just admit the fib, maybe even laugh at yourself a little. A quick, you know what? I totally exaggerated there, works wonders. Authenticity for an INTJ is about pure, unadulterated efficiency. They appreciate transparency because it allows a clear pathway to trust. They're looking for someone genuine because that signals reliability. Test number 2. The intellectual stress test. Here's where things get interesting. They won't ask you about your favorite color. Instead, they might lob an abstract grenade like, if you had to rank human rights versus economic growth in terms of societal importance, where would you even begin and why? They aren't grading your politics. They're timing how fast and how deeply you can engage with an original stance without simply parroting headlines. They want to see your brain at work, dissecting complexity, forming novel connections, and articulating a well-reasoned perspective. It's about intellectual agility. Bring data, but also show them you can dance with paradox and explore gray areas. If your default response is a shrug and that's just too complex, you've just flunked. They crave partners who can stimulate them mentally and who find joy in deep conversations about abstract ideas. This test is all about gauging your capacity for genuine mental engagement. Test number 3, the future vision scan. This isn't about where you see yourself in 5 years. An INTJ is thinking much bigger, maybe 15 or 20 years out. Visions that end vaguely at travel more or be happy will simply evaporate under their scrutiny. They're not looking for dreamers. They're looking for architects. They want to hear about milestones, concrete plans, and even contingency plans. As strategic planners themselves, they need a partner who can keep pace, someone with a clear trajectory. Sketch out a roadmap for your future. Outline your goals and the steps you envision taking. Then, crucially, Invite them to collaborate and add their own strategic input. This signals that you're not just a dreamer, you're a co-strategist capable of building a shared future. A lack of direction is a significant red flag. So it suggests a lack of foresight and strategic thinking. Test number 4. The emotional range probe. This is one of the most subtle yet critical tests. An INTJ might share a past wound or a vulnerability, and then they'll observe your reaction very closely. Do you immediately pivot to your own trauma, making it about you? Do you jump straight into offering unsolicited solutions? Or do you freeze, unsure of how to respond? What they crave isn't a dramatic display of empathy. They crave concise, thoughtful empathy. Something like, "That sounds incredibly painful. I'm sorry you went through that. Do you want to talk about it more, or would you prefer some space?" This demonstrates that you can hold their emotion without flooding the circuit board. It shows you understand boundaries and can offer support that's actually helpful to them. They need to know you can engage in meaningful emotional exchanges without demanding melodrama. They're looking for emotional maturity and stability. Test number 5. The consistency checkpoint. This test is all about the little things. They'll subtly note the time you arrive. They'll remember if your drink order changes from one date to the next, especially if you claimed a strong preference. They'll observe if you tip the same percentage every time. Tiny deviations and inconsistencies get tallied. Why? Because for an INTJ, consistency equals predictability, and predictability is the bedrock of trust. If you say you hate olives, don't eat their tapenade just to be polite. They'll log that as a moment of volatility. It's not about being rigid. It's about being true to your word. They need to know that your actions reliably align with your words. Inconsistency to an INTJ hints at instability or a lack of self-awareness, undermining their ability to trust and plan a future with you. This isn't about being perfect, but about demonstrating a reliable pattern. Test number 6. The resource optimization quiz. This often comes disguised as a casual question. If you suddenly had an extra hour in your day, every day, how would you spend it? Answers like catch up on Netflix or just chill more will signal low ROI in their mental ledger. An INTJ views time, energy, and mental bandwidth as finite, valuable resources that should be optimized for growth. They want to see that you understand the value of self-improvement and strategic resource allocation. Show them systems. I dedicate it to mastering a new language, or I'd use it for skill stacking, maybe learning a new software. Prove that you treat minutes like something to be invested, not just spent. They're looking for a partner who is also driven, who values personal development, and who approaches life with a similar strategic mindset. Test number 7. The loyalty stressor. This test might feel uncomfortable, but it's crucial, as loyalty is one of their most guarded currencies. They might mention an unpopular opinion they hold, then watch to see if you defend them, even verbally, when someone else makes a dismissive comment. Silence in this scenario can be read as treason. You don't have to agree with their opinion. That's not the point. The point is to show backbone, to demonstrate that you're willing to stand by them, or at least stand up for their right to hold that opinion. Loyalty is a deeply held value for INTJ, and they mint it very carefully. They need to see that you're capable of it. They're looking for a steadfast ally who demonstrates solidarity and support, even when it's not the easiest path. This test reveals whether you possess the foundation, loyalty they require. If you're frantically taking mental notes, good. You're already demonstrating the kind of strategic thinking an INTJ appreciates. Go ahead and smash that like button so the algorithm knows to show this video to the next unsuspecting date who thinks, "What's your favorite color?" is still a valid question. The why behind the tests. Let's be clear. INTJ aren't being manipulative. They're not playing games. What they are, fundamentally, is risk-averse. Their dominant cognitive function, introverted intuition, is constantly running future simulations in their minds. Each of these tests isn't an arbitrary hurdle. It's a compressed zip file of future data. They're trying to project compatibility, foresee potential problems, and ensure any emotional investment is strategically sound. If you fail a test, it doesn't mean you're unworthy. It simply means you might be incompatible with their unique operating system. But pass them, and you won't just unlock a partner. You'll unlock a strategist, a co-conspirator, who will actively help you refactor your life for maximal awesomeness, efficiency, and long-term success. They're looking for a partner who can contribute to their grand vision. How to study without looking desperate. So how do you prepare without being inauthentic? It's about genuine self-reflection. Keep a tiny journal of values versus actions. Each day, jot down a core value. Then, reflect on an action you took. Did they align? For an INTJ, consistency between what you say and what you do is paramount. This exercise builds internal alignment. Read one contrarian article a week. Practice defending it aloud. Find an article that challenges your beliefs. Understand its points. Then, practice articulating its arguments aloud. This hones your ability to engage intellectually and dance with complex ideas. Schedule your tomorrow. Tonight, before bed, map out your key tasks for the next day. Write it down. At the end of the day, review how well you stuck to it. This builds a habit of intentionality and follow-through. Consistency is about showing up as the person you said you would be. Once a day, ask someone, "How are you really?" This is a powerful exercise in cultivating empathy. Most people expect a superficial answer. By adding "really" and then patiently waiting, you create space for deeper connection. This trains you to listen and hold space for others' emotions. Like, share, and subscribe if you felt this. And drop a red heart in the comments to let the rest of us know you're watching. So next time a conversation feels less like a chat and more like a CIA debriefing, just relax. They're not judging your soul. They're debugging for compatibility. They're trying to see if you're a potential co-pilot for their life's journey. Bring your honest answers, your considered future blueprints, and a confident handshake between your logic and emotion. Do that, and you'll graduate from being a mere test subject to becoming a cherished co-architect of a beautifully efficient and deeply aligned partnership. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these tests caught you most off guard? Drop your story in the comments below.